Oh, nah. Okay.
Collision. Collision.
Oh, no.
Thrusters disabled. Clearing main thrusters.
Oh,
Stand
fuck.
by.
Subnautica 2 just launched into early access today, and after about an hour and a half with the game on stream, I wanted to sit down and talk about my first impressions. Not speculation, not a full review, just my honest thoughts on the visuals, the atmosphere, story, music, quality of life improvements, and the overall direction of the game so far. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. After only about an hour and a half with Subnautica 2, I already had multiple moments where I just stopped moving completely. I put my controller down and just stared at my screen. Sometimes because something was beautiful, sometimes because something was terrifying, and sometimes because I genuinely had no idea what I was even looking at. And honestly, that's exactly what I wanted from this game. Subnautica 2 immediately feels like a true evolution of the series. Not because it's trying to reinvent what made the original game so special, but because it understands exactly why those games worked in the first place. You see, this game feels mysterious, immersive, uncomfortable, beautiful, and honestly, kind of overwhelming in the best possible way. So, after my first real session with the game, here's exactly what I think about it. The very first thing that hit me was just how visually dense and alive this game actually feels. There is so much to look at constantly. Everywhere you swim, there are different plants, schools of creatures, strange environmental details, glowing materials, bizarre wildlife interactions, and somehow it all feels readable while still feeling alien. That's something Subnautica has always been incredible at, but this game pushes it even further. The environments feel packed with life and color without becoming visual noise. Every material has its own identity visually, and every plant feels intentionally designed. Even the equipment and tools have this more refined, polished appearance while still maintaining the same design philosophy from the older games. Nothing feels disconnected from Subnautica's identity. It still feels like Subnautica, just evolved. And honestly, I found myself getting distracted constantly because I'd see something weird in the distance and immediately want to investigate it. The game is incredibly good at creating curiosity, just like its predecessor. The music deserves a ton of praise as well, because it perfectly captures that classic Subnautica feeling while still sounding unique. Some tracks feel calming, others feel mysterious, and some moments genuinely made me anxious because of the music combined with the environment around me. I was in the safe shallows when a certain song played, and I got horrified. Subnautica has always understood that audio is one of the biggest parts of immersion, and this game already feels exceptional in that regard. The sound design in general is incredible. Creature noises, ambient underwater sounds, environmental audio, everything contributes to this constant feeling that the ocean is alive around you. What surprised me the most, however, was definitely the story. This game wastes absolutely no time pulling you into its world. The intro sequence is honestly fantastic. It's action packed, mysterious, uncomfortable, terrifying, and immediately establishes this darker tone the game seems to be going for. And the corporate themes surrounding Altera feel much more deliberate this time around. The series has always had themes involving corporate greed and exploitation, but here it already feels more grave and unsettling. There's a level of mystery to everything happening that genuinely hooked me immediately. I wasn't just playing to survive or craft better gear, I genuinely wanted answers. And honestly, by the end of the session, I only wanted to keep going. That's a very good sign for a game like this. There are also a ton of quality of life improvements that immediately stand out, and honestly, most of them feel fantastic. One of the biggest ones is crafting stations being able to pull materials from nearby storage automatically. That alone makes base management so much smoother. There's also a ping system, longer scan range, inventory upgrades, and cleaner material management. And one of my favorite changes so far is the inventory system itself. Items no longer take up wildly different amounts of space depending on their physical size, which makes inventory management feel much less frustrating early on. These changes may sound small individually, but together they make the game feel significantly smoother to actually play. It removes a lot of tedious friction without removing the survival identity of the series. And honestly, I think that balance is incredibly important. Also, shout out to the devs, as storage being linked to crafting stations was literally number one on my wish list in terms of base building upgrades. But one of the things that really stands out to me so far is the atmosphere. This game already has multiple moments burned into my brain. Moments where I just stopped completely and stared at something. Sometimes it was a creepy creature, a strange environmental structure, an incredibly beautiful view, or something genuinely unsettling. And the game constantly balances those emotions together: beauty, fear, confusion, curiosity, sometimes all at once. That's what has always made Subnautica feel unique compared to other survival games. It doesn't just feel like survival, it feels like discovery. And discovery naturally creates both wonder and anxiety at the same time. This is something that Subnautica 1 excelled at, but it's something that Subnautica 2 has taken to a completely different level. Now, honestly, I only have one major concern so far, and that's the amount of materials the game gives you early on. There are so many crafting materials everywhere. I ended up needing multiple storage containers very quickly. Now, this might not actually become a problem later because progression seems much more tied to story and exploration than simply gathering resources. But I do worry slightly that having access to so many materials early on could hurt the feeling of progression later on. That said, I really need more time with the game before I fully judge that aspect, because right now, everything else feels incredibly strong. Overall, after my first real session with Subnautica 2, I'm honestly extremely impressed. The visuals are incredible, the atmosphere is phenomenal, the music is fantastic, the story immediately hooked me, and the world already feels genuinely memorable. Most importantly, though, the game made me feel something constantly: curiosity, anxiety, wonder, fear, and honestly, I think that's exactly what Subnautica should do. If the rest of the game continues at this level of quality, this could end up being something really special. And after only an hour and a half, I already don't want to stop playing. And honestly, I'm relieved. You see, I'm not the biggest Subnautica fan, but even I was genuinely worried that Subnautica 2 would never be able to live up to the standards that the first game set. But after this first session, I'm not just relieved. I'm genuinely excited because this already feels like a game that could raise that bar to an entirely different level. If you enjoyed the video, let me know what your first impressions of the game have been so far. And if you want to see more Subnautica 2 content, streams, and discussions, stick around, because I honestly cannot wait to dive deeper into this game.